Destiny. Is it actually worth it? Hello again, I am Blunty. That's Destiny, of course, and I did not buy it on launch day. I played the public alpha, I played the public beta, I made videos about my experiences playing the alpha and beta, and I made videos comparing the Xbox One version to the PS4 version. I made a video reviewing the PlayStation Vita remote play functionality, and personally speaking, I very much enjoyed all of it. But I didn't buy the game on launch day. Why? Well, the question is the one we started out with. Is Destiny worth it? Is it going to actually be fun, real fun, not just the, hey, I'm passing time away playing this popular game grinding and because it's the popular game to be doing that in right now. Titanfall, for example, made many of the same promises, always online, community-centered, evolving experience, thin on story and single-player value, but rich in new approaches to old game styles. But Titanfall, as awesome as the concept was, and as briefly fun as giant mechs were, well, it faded away very quickly, didn't it? And not just for me, but the whole community lost interest and abandoned that game very much faster than I've ever seen in this kind of AAA title and new IP. And back on Destiny, well, as much fun as I had in the Destiny beta and all, I wasn't actually convinced that the game was going to be anything more than what the beta was. I mean, usually you'd expect the beta to be a taste, a wee sample of what the game is all about. But I'm not alone in this. There were many people quite worried that instead of the beta being a free taste, that it instead represented pretty much completely what the full game was to be, but, you know, just more of the same stuff we already did in the beta. A few more maps, a few more missions, but no more depth, no more real storytelling, just shooting and level grinding and loot farming and blah blah blah. And I'm not convinced that I actually wanted to play any more of that. I started to convince myself that a fistful of days with the beta on the PS4 was all I needed to experience from Destiny. I had essentially had the Destiny experience. So I waited. Launch day came and passed, and I waited. I waited for the reviews, I waited for the general player base reaction, and I waited to hear what my favourite gaming podcasts and all had to chat about what the full Destiny experience was. And I was kind of right, it seems. Most people seem to agree that the beta was pretty much what the game is, and it's not some kind of new Halo, it's not a deep, rich story, it's not a rich chain of gameplay with heavily plot-driven elements and cinematic cutscenes to blow you away. I mean, there's plenty of lore there, if you can be bothered reading about it on Grimoire cards on the Bungie.net website, but the game itself doesn't seem to deliver any real storytelling. It's actually quite thin when it comes to that, apparently. It is all just kind of a coat of paint over a collection of gameplay mechanics, perhaps cynically designed to keep you mindlessly grinding away and collecting loot and rinse repeat. Its grindy MMORPG elements are far closer to the surface than any echoes of Halo or other great fantasy FPSs are. It's perhaps more Diablo 3 loot churning than it is the kind of shooter I have personally found more attractive. Now, I'm not opposed to grindy RPG stuff as such. I mean, I can't even calculate how many hours I've spent mindlessly wandering back and forth in tall grass in Pokemon games, for instance. But I just wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do in this shared world shooter. But of course what you're seeing on screen right now is indeed me playing the full release version of Destiny. And I purchased it today. So what changed my mind? Well, I have to be honest here, partly it's because I felt like I was missing out. Oh no! I mean, quite a lot of my friends and acquaintances and peers are playing it, and I'd like to be up to speed on this game, not only for conversations, but in general because it's something of a landmark title. That's something I feel like I need to know about. But mostly, it's because when I think about the future of this game, I'm starting to think it'll be less like Halo, in that I'm not really expecting Destiny 2 and Destiny 3 and some Destiny spin-off game, subtitle. I'm actually kind of starting to suspect it'll grow more like, say, World of Warcraft. There'll be no numbered sequels with hard edges of continuity, or solidly defined chapters in the story, but instead the core game will continue to swell and grow and evolve via patches and add-on packs and expansions and DLC until perhaps 6 years from now it's still around but barely recognisable as the game we have today. Just like today's World of Warcraft is to the day one players back in 2004. Can you believe that? The game's been around 10 years? Crikey. And that concept actually is interesting to me, and I feel like now is the time to get grounded in Destiny well before all that swelling starts. Otherwise, I fear it just may become kind of impenetrable or just intimidating to new players. I'm hanging my hopes on Destiny being truly special in the long run, but in the short term, I'm really hoping that I don't get tired of the thin story and grindy mechanics. I'm hoping I can stick with it enough to be invested sufficiently to really enjoy the long-term plans that Bungie and Activision have planned out for us. I'm really kind of hoping also that this will be the first game to actually make playing online enjoyable for me, as I hardly ever play multiplayer online games, especially shooters. And not just because I'm allergic to the kind of vile, toxic, immature, shit-eating stupidity that all too commonly infects these communities, ruining the experience of people like me who, shockingly, just want their video games to be fun, but also because video games aren't my only hobby or pastime, and in other online-focused games, really, if you're not a teenage Cheetos-sucking basement dweller playing every night for hours on end, it's kind of impossible to stay competitive enough to actually have real fun with the game. Instead, they become horribly hostile to new players, or even old players who haven't come in a while, so their old skills are rusty or whatnot, or just maybe they're not up to date on the newly patched in mechanics or something, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about, guys. These things are hostile is the word. Now, and speaking personally again, I'm not hyper-competitive, I don't have unlimited free time, and I don't even want to be playing the same game every single night just to keep an edge. And not have to feel constantly judged by the "this game is my whole life" type players. So, I'm also hoping that the way that Destiny's online experience is constructed, that it'll keep being fun. Also, I guess now I'll actually have to add my actual friends to my gaming friends list thingies, because up until now, being pretty solidly dedicated to the single-player experiences, it was kind of irrelevant to me, really. So, now's the part where I ask you guys where you're coming down on Destiny from. Did you wait like me? Were you here day one? Have you stuck with it? Do you think you'll stick with it for much longer? What do you think the future of this game will be? Do you think it'll be more Halo or more World of Warcraft or more Diablo 3 for that matter? For now, personally, I think I've got a good enough idea of what the game is right now, so my expectations are at the right level and have been tempered by listening to day one player reactions over the past couple of weeks for me to actually be able to enjoy it on its own merits. Thanks for watching, I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time.